Sean, you're all set? Yeah, we're all set.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the February meeting of the Woods Hole Martha's Vineyard and Nantucket Steamship Authority. I would like to inform everyone that Steve Batty of All Media Productions is making a video and audio recording of today's meeting in public session for Martha's Vineyard Community TV, also known as MVTV. I would also like to inform everyone that Sean Driscoll, the authority's communications director, is making an audio and video recording of today's meeting as well. Is there anyone else making an audio recording of today's meeting? If so, please identify yourself by pressing the raise your hand button icon, or if you are joining by phone, pressing *9 on your keypad. And when you are recognized by Mr. Driscoll, please state your name for the record. Thank you.
Hi, good morning, Rich from the MV Times.
Can you hear us, Rich?
He's muted again.
Okay. All right.
All right, that's all I
that's-
have, Ms. Tierney. Go ahead.
All right, perfect. And then I'd like to read a statement concerning remote participation. Pursuant to Section 20 of Chapter 20 of the Acts of 2021, and in line with social distancing guidelines followed during the COVID-19 pandemic, board members are participating remotely in today's meeting because their physical attendance today would be unreasonably difficult. All board members are participating in the meeting by Zoom video conference app, and all members will be clearly audible to each other. As a result of the members' remote participation in this meeting, any and all votes taken by the members today shall be by a roll call vote. And the first item on the agenda is approval of January's minutes. Do I have any discussion? No?
I'd move the minutes.
I'm sorry, I missed what you said, Mr. Jones.
I said I'd move the passing of the minutes.
Oh, thank you so much. Do I have a second?
Malkin with second.
May I have a roll call vote, please?
Jones, aye.
Malkin, aye.
Randy, aye.
Yeah.
And Tierney, aye. So the minutes are approved. Item number 2 is the Port Council's report on their February 1st of 2022 meeting. And who do we have from the Port Council today?
I'm bringing Mr. Cahill over.
Okay, great. He looks like he's enjoying himself. Oh, I spoke too soon.
There you go. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Madam Chair. I know you have a lot to talk about today, so I'll keep mine brief. We had a meeting on the 1st, and the most important thing is we passed the capital budget for 2022 unanimously. And then we discussed several of the topics that we'll be talking about today. And that's it. I'll take any questions.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Item number 3 is the general manager's report. Mr. Davis?
Good morning, everyone. Before I start, I'd just like to mention who's in the barn here with me. I got Terrence Keneally, Mark Rosem, Allison Fletcher, Angela Campbell, Janice Kennefic, Mark Amundson, Monica Andrade, and Bill Cloutier, as well as Steve Beatty. So.
Thank you, Bob.
All right. So first we have is the business summary for the month of December. So I'll start and I'll let Mark take any questions.
You can all see that?
Yes, I can.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so business summary for the month of December. Total number of passengers carried on both routes for December was down 3.3%, or about 5,400 passengers versus the traffic in 2019. The Vineyard route, you'll see, is down 2.6%, about 3,300, while the Nantucket route was down 3.3%, or just over 2,100. That was split between the traditional service being down 4% and the high-speed service being down 7.1%. Year-to-date, total number of passengers carried on both routes was down 9.6%, or just over 291,000 passengers versus our budget numbers. And the budget numbers were March of 2019 through February of 2020. So next, showing the how we did for the year versus 2020 and versus budget. Next. Automobiles carried on both routes for December was up 2.6%, or 810 automobiles. The Vineyard route was up 2%, or 532, primarily the standard as the excursions were down. Nantucket route was up 6.5%. Again, primarily standard as the excursions were down on that route as well. Year to date, the total number of automobiles carried was up 5.1% versus budget. With the Vineyard route being up 3.8% and the Nantucket route being up 13.6%.
Wow.
So next. In the graph showing our automobile traffic for the year. Next. Trucks carried on both routes for December was up 10.4%, or excuse me, 10.5%. We're missing the bottom of that table, at least on our screen. Vineyard route was up 10.5%, or just over 1,000. It was the over 20, but the under 20 is up as well. Nantucket route was up 10.4%. Again, the over 20-foot trucks was up, while the less than 20-foot were also up. Year to date, both routes combined were up 1.5% versus budget, or 2,954 units for the year. And next, you'll see how that the truck traffic was for the year. Next. Number of cars parked on both routes for December was down 2.1%, or 133 daily fee parkers. The Vineyard route was down 0.7%, while the Nantucket route was down 5.8%. For the year, we're down 8.9%, or just over 15,000 cars parked versus our budget numbers. And next. All right, and the next, during December, the vessels made a combined 1,801 trips, and this is a decrease of 45 trips, or 2.4% versus budget. On the Vineyard route, we had 2 trips canceled for mechanical, 16 because of weather, and 25 because of traffic demands. On the Nantucket route, we had 0 trips canceled for mechanical, 8 for weather, and 0 for traffic demands. And then for year to date, the vessels made a combined 24,371 trips, and that's a decrease of 247 trips, or 1.0% versus budget. The Vineyard route had 68 trips canceled for mechanical over the course of the year, 207 for weather, and 391 because of traffic demands. While the Nantucket route had 37 trips canceled for mechanical, 204 for weather, and 23 because of traffic demands. Next. So the net operating loss for the month of December was $4,682,000, or some $818,000 higher than what we had anticipated in the operating budget. That operating income year to date, you'll see as of the end of December, is $14,870,000. That's an unaudited number. Our external auditors are just getting started. That figure ends up being 5,441,000 higher than what we had anticipated. On the operating revenues and other income side for the month, we had $7,376,000, which was $1,317,000 higher than budget. And then next, actually, I think. So our automobile revenues were up 67,000. Freight revenue was up 514,000. Passenger revenue was up 515,000. Parking revenue was up 26,000, while miscellaneous income, which includes the interest income and license fees, was up 183,000. Total operating revenues and other income for the year end up being 132,498,000, or some 6.5 million higher than what we had budgeted for the year. The biggest increases there are that the auto revenues were up 2,080,000. Freight revenue was up 2,680,000, while passenger revenue was up 569,000. Next. Just a graph showing where the income comes from. Next. So our total operating expenses and other expenses for December were 12,058,000, with 2,134,000 higher than budget. Maintenance expense was up 2,950,000, or 195.8%. A lot of this reflects parts and services that we accelerated into 2022 because we're concerned about supply chain issues. So that explains a good portion of the maintenance expenses. Meanwhile, our fuel oil expense was 26,000 above budget for the month. Fuel came in, actual cost came in at $1.76 per gallon. We had budgeted $1.88 per gallon for December. And our administration expenses were down 1,146,000, as some of our pension expenses ended up being down 912,000, and health claims were 599,000 below budget. Meanwhile, we had unemployment contributions being up 75,000, training by 17,000, and credit card fees by 33,000. Year to date, our operating expenses and fixed charges of 117,627,000 is 1,059,000 higher than budget for the year. And you'll see, the breakout of some of the categories. And with that, Mark or I would be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions? I have a question of Mark. Why would payroll taxes up 30%?
The main driver on that was the rate for the unemployment rate went up significantly.
Oh, okay.
And then this year it's coming down a little bit for 2022.
All right, thank you, Mark.
Welcome.
Okay.
All right,
Can I have an update, Mr. Davis, on current projects?
certainly. Let's start with the Woods Hole Terminal project, and while Bill gets ready to come up, since the board last met, Cashman has demobilized some of their equipment and has been pulling back their limit of work, removing Jersey barriers and the like. They completed the access modifications and handrail installation to get to monopile number 8 and number 9. The plumbing, electrical, and fuel system subcontractors also continued and completed the installation of the utilities on the South Head Dolphin for slip number 1. Cashman has been working on monopile number 24, the coffer dam structure, and the divers have been on site to do that work. And with that, I've mentioned that we've done 185 community updates on this project emails. So, Bill?
Sure. Sean, you're gonna, good morning, everybody.
Bill.
Wait for Sean here. Here we go. Sean, next first picture, please. This is a view of the monopile 24 and the 242-inch piles behind it, that where we're building the coffer dam. That beam is the some false work for the sheet piles connecting the three piles. Next. This is another view. It's a better view of the same thing. You can see the work is out there on there. Next. This is a vibratory hammer driving the sheet piles. There were 4 double pairs. It took about 2 days to do that work. Next, Sean. This is a view of the South Head Dolphin with the utilities on it. The blue line is the fuel oil line. It's double wall line going out to the hose reel. The sewers, sewer pump out, shore power and potable water. Next. This is a view with the sheets completed and the divers doing their work inside. There's a lot of welding and tiebacks and whalers that need to be connected underwater. Next. This is a view of the south passenger floating pier, which is going to be useful for a handicap access loading of the on the ferries. You can see the two gangways on the float. Thanks. Last one, Sean. So this is an aerial view of the waterfront. We're just about done. We're expecting to be done either middle March or towards the end of March. Waterfront is complete, pretty much complete, except for monopile 24. So this is what the waterfront's going to look like in the future. Okay, to date. Yeah, thanks, Sean. The original contract was about 43 million. Change orders to date is about 16 million. Change orders as a percent of the original contract is 37%. Total contract is 59 million, and the waterside cost estimate in 2017 was just about 54 million. We're over our original estimate by 5.5 million. With that, I'll take any questions.
Any questions?
John, you got to change your screen.
I know that we're doing the coffin work on a time and materials. Have we had any overrun on the cost of that based upon the recent weather?
I think we lost 2 days, Peter, on for weather, but other than that, it's moving forward pretty well.
John, stop sharing your screen, please.
I did stop sharing. It's not changing on your side, sorry. Oh, wait, hang on. All right, there it is. I apologize.
Thank you.
Okay.
Any other
Any other-
questions? Thank you,
Okay,
Bill.
Thank you.
I'm sure you're happy to see the end in sight.
I am. As you are, I'm sure too.
SQMS update, please.
Sure. Well, I before I get there, just one quick thing on the land side. Back on January 19th was right after the last board meeting. The project's design team did present the community, provide the community an update on the Woods Hole Terminal terminal building design progress, and we'll have Chris and Liam a little later on to provide a update on that, but we're generally at about 90% of design development has been completed at this point, so.
Great. May I now go to SQMS, Mr. Davis?
All right, so the SQMS, the 3 manuals that we created for the part of the safety quality management system, SQMS, have been completed. Again, the support operations manual, the vessel ops manual, and the terminal and facilities operations manual. We're trying to coordinate with the project's consultant, which is SMS LLC, on a internal dates for an internal audit and management review before we start seeking certification of the project. So we hope to do that in the coming weeks here to get that, keep that moving along.
Okay. How about the website update and redesign?
Sure, that's me. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Get my video going here. Okay, so an update on the website, as I'd said, that so ADK Group and ourselves as Steamship Authority obviously have been deep into the 6-week discovery phase of the project. That phase is intended to map the current and ideal states of the website, identify all of the parts of the technological ecosystem that they need to know about, and all of the features and functionality. They've had more than a dozen workshops with our project team so far, and we've got more yet to come. This discovery phase is scheduled to end March 1st, and then we'll start the next phase, which is called Focused Innovation, in early March. And that's when ADK will work to define the overall structure of the user experience and start some user testing with members of the public. And we've also worked with ADK to develop a public engagement plan for the project. We established a landing page on the website, which is steamshipauthority.com/website project. We have a new e-news edition that'll start going out every other week, with the first one to come out this Friday. We'll distribute monthly reports to the Port Council and board on progress, and we'll also have quarterly public presentations on the website. Progress, we'll post those both on the page and through the e-news. And then there will be a public presentation, obviously, of the final result later this year, including extensive user testing prior to and after the launch. So sorry, I'm trying to block the light behind my head. We're deep into the discovery phase and making a lot of progress, and certainly happy to take any questions.
Yeah, Mr. Malcolm?
Thank you. Sean, to underscore something again, other than looking at the boats, this is the most visible portion to our traveling customers of our operation. And since communication to people about where they're traveling, when they're traveling, issues with the current status of travel during the day, communication to people on the ground at the terminals, consistent communication, this is going to be really important and a real big project, as we've talked before. So my only suggestion would be, in terms of your community outreach, and that maybe you look at how you get the news of what you're doing out to all of our travelers to make sure that they are engaged with what's going on, because the user experience part of this is going to be huge. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Malcolm. Good suggestion. Sean, any comment?
No, certainly agree with that. I mean, that's why we've established the landing page, and we're going to include updates on, in the e-news and in many different ways, so people can keep up to date with it. And we have a robust list of people who responded to our survey about a year ago, of people who want to be included in future testing. So we've got a lot of good start already on that.
Thank you.
Thank you. May I have an update on the Martha's Vineyard Island Home dry dock status, please?
All right, Mark, come up and go over the progress there.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Mark.
It's a very busy time for us in ship repair right now, as we got multiple vessels in dry dock. Sean, if you could start off. Right now, we have the Island Home is at Senesco in North Kingston, Rhode Island. What we're doing here is, this is a photograph of a guide, which we're putting new trackways for the bow and stern doors. What this guide does, it aligns the new trackway with the doors, so they open and close in a proper manner. Next. And this is a picture of the after water blasting the vessel. That's a picture of the rudder, obviously taken dimensions, clearances. Next. So the dry dock highlights bow and stern thruster overhauls, bow and stern door overhauls. We're modifying the marine evacuation system doors, blasting coating of the hull, and overall rudder overhauls. Next. So the financial snapshot of this, our contract was 1.36 million. We have credits to date of 281,000 and change orders of 33,390. So right now we're at 1.1 million. And the difference in this is we've not having to go to the extent of structural steel repair, and also we're not having to remove the shafting and propellers as they're all in proper clearances. So I think we'll be coming in at a good level on the Island Home. Any questions?
No questions? Thank you, Mark. And how about the INO?
Okay. The INO, John, if you bring that up. So we put, right now, the INO is going in, we're calling is a kind of a mid-period in its life of coating. And what we've done is we've taken all the coatings down with a process called glass bead blasting. And we're replacing all the coatings on the exterior hull and superstructure. Next. This is a picture. We have all four jet drives. You only can see two of the jet drives here are off for overhaul. Next. This is a photograph of the steering nozzles. There's four of these have been blasted and coated. Next. What we've done is we've done blasting in the interior of the pontoon and overheads. And this is what this photograph is. Next. So the INO dry dock highlights include extensive coating renewals, overhaul of the jet drives, and we've replaced all the carpets on the two levels. So project's going well and is on time. Next. Can see, but the cost is the dry dock cost is 566,000. We have 22,000 in credits, and the total change orders right now are 105,000. And this includes we get into the jet drives and found some further damage that we had to correct. And so the total contract credits and change orders is 649,000. And she'll be finishing up in the end of this month and going to Fairhaven, where we're going to install a new engine as part of the scheduled maintenance refit there. Any questions?
The engine that we have on the procurement schedule today?
Yes, we do have that.
So this is the engine that we previously had purchased.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. And lastly, the Martha's Vineyard Katama.
Katama, yes. So the Katama, we had to perform an emergency dry docking. And what we found is we had a crack in the hull. And so we found a window at Dane Shipyard. And this is a photograph of the bottom shell plate cutout. the actual crack was not exterior to the vessel, it was actually in it, what's called the channel cooler of one of the auxiliary generators. So actually coolant was leaking back through the crack into the engine room. There's never any danger of the crack propagating. So what you see here is some audio gauging. We have now completed. Sean, perhaps we go to the next slide. A little more. And one more, that's just a different view. So this is kind of a side view of the channel cooler. So the hull where the crack was not exterior to the sea, I'll call it the seaside. And next photo, please. So this is a photograph of the transverse watertight bulkhead. The container is 40 years old. When I took over engineering and maintenance 2 years ago, I began what's called an enhanced audio gauging survey, where we take many thousands of gauging points to develop corrosion patterns. And right now we have a third-party review of the life enhancement or life extension or other with a third party, and that report will be forthcoming. Next.
Is that,
The,
excuse me, I'm sorry, may I ask, is that report just for the container or is it for all our vessels?
It's for all of our vessels. We've gone through partially, we've done the enhanced audio gauging on all the vessels in the fleet. So we have a view going ahead forward of kind of a pecking order of where we need to go from the
Super.
maintenance point of view. So the container will undock tomorrow. The vessel's repairs, we're just doing some coatings today and get back into service. And lastly, we do have the Woods Hole is just finishing up her repair period in Fairhaven. She's doing sea trials today, and we'll do Coast Guard sea trials on Thursday, and that will be, she'll go back into service.
Super.
Any
Thank you,
questions?
Mark. Are there any questions of Mark?
Thank you very much, everyone.
I think I'll also point out, though, that the Woods Hole will be actually coming back in and replacing the Martha's Vineyard for a day or two.
Yeah,
We have the parts for the stern freight door have come in, so we need to take the Martha's Vineyard offline to do those repairs.
Thank you,
Thank-
Mr. Davis. May I have a COVID-19 update, Mr. Davis, please?
Sure. So as we reported last month, the Steamship Authority adopted a employee COVID-19 vaccination verification policy to help hopefully to prevent the viral infection and transmission amongst our workforce and the traveling public. The policy was consistent with the executive order issued by Governor Baker this past fall. The policy is that the employees demonstrate that they've received at least one COVID vaccine by the start of the winter schedule, which was back on January 5th, and to be fully vaccinated by the 16th of February, which is coming up. So in order to meet those requirements, they need to complete a vaccination self-attestation form, as well as submit documents to the authority's Human Resource Department. Currently, we have it's over 95% of our employees have submitted the proof of vaccination or have been granted exemptions based on sincerely held religious beliefs or medically detrimental conditions, or have documented appointments for vaccination. So the remaining employees at this point remain ineligible to be working until they comply with the mandates. So
Thank you. And are there any questions on the COVID status? Thank you. And finally, Mr. Davis, could you tell us about the Woods Hole Terminal design development? And are we expecting a presentation?
yeah, so as I mentioned earlier, that back on the 19th of January, we had the community presentation, and Chris and Liam are here with us today to go through this. It's quite extensive amount of work that they have to do for this project is extensive, and but they'll try to give you a Reader's Digest version of it here today. So,
Yeah, I would ask that they sort of streamline it because we have a heavy meeting today too. So thank you.
Good morning. We'll do our best. We have a lot of material to cover, so in the interest of time, we'll go as quickly as we can. I'll just share my screen here. Is that visible?
Yes.
So the overall site plan and site layout has not changed significantly since schematic design. As design efforts have really been focused on detailed development of specific components. A few items that I'll highlight: we've coordinated the site design to work with emergency response vehicles and added hydrant locations with Falmouth Fire Department input. The design of landscape areas have also been developed with community input, and we'll touch on that a little later in the presentation. And we've also revised the Cowdrey Road entry to 2 staggered attendant booths. And this configuration maintains a clear exit lane for trucks, preserves the turning clearances for buses entering towards the bus lanes, and also creates 2 entry lanes at Cowdrey Road. A quick summary of the site elements. This pie chart shows that vehicular spaces take up about 3/4 of the site, which is roughly 5 football fields in size. The pedestrian areas make up 15%, and landscape represents 6%, and the combined total of all the building footprints is the smallest element at 5%. The development of the terminal building plan has included detailed engineering of structural, mechanical, electrical, plumbing, and fire protection systems. So the general layout of the building hasn't changed. And as you can see here, public spaces are arranged with east and west facing entry vestibules, and back of house spaces are shown with a blue tone on this drawing. This page is an illustration of the major building materials and elements, beginning with the structural systems, which you can see in the upper left-hand image. Both the terminal and utility buildings are utilizing an exposed steel and wood glulam structure. The waiting room in the terminal building is unique condition and will have an inverted truss rod system that consists of steel standoffs and paired rods. And those extend the span of the beams so that we won't need any interior columns in that space. All the windows in both buildings will be wood window systems. And that's a highly durable hurricane rated system that's also high performing from a thermal standpoint. And that will help us meet the net zero criteria for the project. The utility building's second floor is using a cedar rain screen cladding that will gray and weather similar to a traditional Cape Cod shingle. And primary exterior metals will be marine grade stainless steel for the railings, fasteners, and anchors. Both the terminal and utility building will be clad in a regional granite veneer. And we've been working closely with some local stone suppliers and quarries to develop a custom granite blend that will approximate the historic Falmouth granite that's no longer available. Both buildings have flat roofs with tapered insulation and white membrane systems, and photovoltaic arrays are supported on curbs above the roof, and those provide our renewable on-site energy for the net zero project. Here we have a view from the terrace level at the main entrance to the terminal building. And this shows steps leading up from the bus berths on the east face of the building, and one of the 4 ramps that lead down to the sidewalk at the plaza level. And then in the distance beyond, you can also see the utility building across from the Cowdrey Road entrance. This is a view of the waiting room looking north towards the outdoor plaza in the village beyond. The plan on the left-hand side of the image also shows where this is inside of the terminal building. After a lot of study of the east and west walls, we formerly had round windows, and we determined that elongated horizontal windows allowed a more panoramic view of the bus berths and the waterside operations. So this view shows the highly transparent north wall that frames an attractive view of the village and a green foreground. And this was a quality that was identified early on by village representatives as desired for the terminal building. The roof support system, as I touched on a moment ago, is comprised of a steel frame that supports the glulam and cable trusses that you can see here. These drawings are of the long sides of the terminal building, the top being the main east entrance facade facing the bus berths, and the lower is the side of the building that faces the water. The exteriors are a granite clad bearing wall that rises to 12 feet and supports the roof structural system. The roof glue lamps cantilever out over the terraces on all four sides. And a continuous glass clerestory window system is set between the beams, and that provides the closure between the granite cap and the roof plane. The top of the building is equipped with solar panels that are supported on the curbs. And this drawing represents the coloration of the granite mix that I was just describing. That's the regional blend similar to the Falmouth pink granite. Granite courses are 12 inches high and vary in length. You can also see in these views the elongated horizontal window that replaced the round windows. And the sill of that window is set at elevation 17, eliminating the need for any deployable flood proofing on those sides of the building. The north side of the building faces the outdoor plaza and is highly transparent. In warm weather, there are two sliding doors that can be opened, and those can create a connection to the plaza and the village beyond. On the south side of the building, you can see the two doors leading out from the public restrooms on the right, and the mechanical room is positioned on the left. The utility building first floor has not changed significantly since we last presented it to you. The first floor spaces are designed to be wet flood proof and can be evacuated prior to a storm surge. Consequently, the exterior walls are cast in place concrete with a granite veneer, and all the interior walls are concrete masonry unit walls. As with the terminal building, the primary effort during design development has been on engineering and coordinating the systems. The second floor of the utility building houses the staff spaces for vessel crews and site operations, and includes lockers, staff restrooms, the break room, and multipurpose room. Electrical equipment needed to serve the entire site is also located inside the electrical room on this floor, and locating all the systems and equipment inside the second floor of the building here also extends the service life of that equipment. Moving to the exterior of the utility building, shown here are the north and west elevations that face Cowdrey Road and the waterfront. Similar to the terminal, the exterior walls are granite veneer in a 12-inch high coursing pattern done in the custom regional granite blend. Two roll-up doors on the first floor will be a frosted translucent panel door, and that provides light but no visibility into that space, and that reduces the lighting load in those spaces. The east elevation here faces the employee parking lot, and you can see there's a door that gives staff direct access to the second floor. And the majority of this elevation is a cedar rain screen above the stone sill line. And the south elevation similarly is primarily cedar rain screen cladding, and that elevation was developed so there are no windows, which was an abutter request. These site section views show the two buildings in the greater context of the site. The top view is cut looking south and shows the terminal and utility building north elevations, and you can see the waterfront pier and slips and the island home for scale. The lower view is cut through the vehicle staging area looking west towards the waterfront. Shifting over to the landscape design, the schematic layout has not changed, but we have added a significant amount of detail and also incorporated design elements based on several meetings, both in Woods Hole and on Zoom with Arden Edwards and a small group from the community. The community design items include the design of the site lighting, which will conform to LEED dark sky guidelines, raising the Cahoon Park planter bed edges, which will be made from reclaimed granite material that was saved from the old park, a new granite base to hold the historic horse trough fountain located close to its original historic location, bronze plaques set into the paving materials, and interpretive panels, which will have content developed in collaboration with the community. A number of suggested topics have also already been identified by Arden's group. Here you can see detailed drawings and images illustrating the stacked granite seat walls in Cahoon Park. And these are meant to resemble a seawall facing the water's edge. And these stacked walls also provide tiered seating and containment for the built-up landscaping as we raise the grade through the length of the park. This slide shows several examples of the wood benches and the granite site walls, which will be the same regional granite blend as the building facades, and also shown as a detail describing the soil cell system that will be used for trees that are not set within larger planter beds. The planting list has been developed based on community input and a tour that the landscape architect and myself, we took with Woods Hole Group. And we looked at a number of Woods Hole parks that were both successful and unsuccessful in terms of their planting use. So as a general approach, all the plants are going to be selected from a list of non-invasive and highly adaptive plants. And lastly, we have a pair of images showing before and after views of the waterfront from Railroad Ave. This panorama shows the pre-existing terminal building that sat on the wharf between Old Slip 3 to the north and Slip 1 at the center of the site. On the roof of the old terminal building was a 100-foot tall Wi-Fi antenna and mechanical equipment. You can also see in this photo the old Cahoon Park on the right-hand side of the image next to the Nishan Trust building. The aerial image below also shows the pre-existing in plan with the view cone approximating the field of view. So this panoramic view is roughly in the same position, and you can see the view cone in the site plan below. To the right-hand side of the image, you can see the Quixhole Tavern building and the new expanded Cahoon Park with a sidewalk path that curves up as the park elevation rises to the terminal plaza level. Beyond the park is the Slip 3 transfer bridge gallows and the waterfront north pier structure. And as you can see here in this image, the new landscape areas have been oriented to maximize their impact with planters and pedestrian paths along Luscombe and Railroad Avenue, offering a much more connected and welcoming face to the village, and also defining that Luscombe Railroad Avenue intersection. So that concludes our presentation, and we'd be happy to take any questions and comments. Thank you.
Mr. Malcolm? You're muted, Jim.
Sorry, I should know this by now. Can you go back and show the before slide and the proposed slide? Is that possible to put them on one screen? That plus the prior one? Yeah.
Adjacent to each other? Yes, it'll just take me a moment, but.
Okay, so that's 2B. I mean, and one of my concerns is hearing so many people being so distressed about scale here. I'd like to be able to visualize this. And if that's not possible, okay, because this is helpful.
It is, it'll just take me a second to get it opened up. Apologize.
So just as Liam's doing that, the perspective is slightly different. So that one was taken right at the corner of the intersection.
Right.
Because I think the other one is a little farther up where the crosswalk crosses over where the bike path ends now and where we continue and where it will be ending as well. So
I'm just trying to visualize this since I've heard so much about it and I've seen things in schematics, but actually seeing the rendition is helpful.
Sorry, I had it in full screen mode, so it just takes a second to get it.
Getting there, thank you. Cool. This actually, so am I wrong? This actually from a ground level looks lower than the prior structure?
So these aren't 100% in the same position. We did shift it slightly just because the panoramic view photo we had wasn't exactly replicating the 3D model that we have. So the primary difference is that in the rendering, we're a little further up Railroad Avenue.
Yeah,
And so you can see Quixhole Tavern versus seeing the
Correct.
Nishan Trust. But they're both taken from eye level.
okay. Thank you. That was helpful. I appreciate it. Sorry, Madam Chair, but thank you.
Oh, no, thank you. Are there any other questions? Yes? Go ahead, Falmouth Rep.
To the ongoing landscape design, from the last kind of public input, where are we in trying to develop mitigation of traffic noise? I know one of the main concerns from the village was the loss of some of the embankments along Railroad Ave and its impact on noise mitigation from traffic.
Do you want to address that, Chris, or do you want me to?
Go ahead. I'm not.
So there's, I'd say we've had competing points of view from the community on that embankment specifically. On the one hand, there's a desire from the bicycle group, as we understand it, to maximize parking and also maximize the width of the bike path as it passes through that park. And so we've been balancing that desire with the desire for planting, which the design team also shares. So the way it's laid out currently, we have a landscape buffer there. We are planning to maintain some of the existing planting further to the east, close to the embankment at the bridge itself. But along the new retaining wall, the intent is to replant that area with a combination of low shrubs and deciduous trees. So that's where the design stands currently. And as I said, it's been a bit of a balance to meet both of those interests.
I'd like to ask a question, please. Do you have a slide that will show a picture of your previously designed building next, prior to the significant community input, next to the current rendition that we just saw?
So, I mean, I could answer that one. We could. We have probably 50 different alternatives we did before we came to this final solution several years ago now. And so we have previous presentations where we have various 2 and even a 3-story building. So I guess we'd need to know which comparison you're looking to see.
Probably the one that was furthest along in the design and approval process.
So that would be I think that's the 2017 schematic design, if I'm not mistaken, Leanne.
I don't necessarily have to have it now.
Okay.
I would like to have it side by side for our next meeting, please.
Do you want to, when you say that, do you want to see elevations of the 2, plans of the 2?
I want to see a photograph or a slide or whatever it is that you gentlemen call it that shows the most of the changes, that encompasses most of the changes that we have made with the community input.
So if I may, are you looking then for, previously we were looking at a 2-story terminal design. The location is essentially the same location as what this 1-story version is. So that you want to see that comparison between those 2, correct?
Yes, I do.
May I? Ms. Chair?
Oh, sure. I'm so sorry.
I absolutely support what the chair is asking for. I did come into this while this project was well underway, but from everything I have been able to see and read, there have been significant alterations to what was originally planned to what we're now looking at. And this would, and I'd like to see that, and I'd like everybody to be aware of that, because it's still clearly a topic of concern with some people. Thank you.
Thank
So
you.
I would also say that in the Port Council meeting that we had, that same question came up. And we were asked to generate a list of all of the things that are now incorporated in the project that were the result of community input. And so we've compiled that list, and we can make that available to you.
That would be great to have the.
And it's a lot of things, really.
That would be great to have the two of them, and maybe we can put it on, and we don't necessarily need a presentation from you individuals, but maybe we could have it available for our next meeting, Mr. Davis.
Certainly.
Okay, thank you.
Great.
Okay, moving along.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Liam. Next, we have the treasurer's report. So Mr. Rosen's coming up.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hi,
I'd
Mark.
like to go, I'd like to go over the proposed 2022 capital budget. If Sean could do a little screen share, please. Okay, so as of January 26, 2022, we had approximately $15.4 million available for capital projects. And you can see that in the first column, and then moving left to right. With the approved 2022 budget, we're anticipating just under $12 million in transfers to our replacement fund for capital projects. We currently have commitments for just under $15.1 million in projects. So this would leave, and then we're proposing, which we'll go over a little bit later, about $7,850,000 in new projects. So then after all, if these are approved, this will result with about 44 million, just over $4 million available for contingencies and other projects. Okay, here's a slide of where we stand for the existing projects. Okay. All right, here's a slide showing the upcoming proposed projects that we're proposing today. Altogether, there are 17 proposed projects for the year. They include design and engineering for side loading of the MV Woods Hole. Computer system upgrades include storage replacement, firewalls, virtualization of PCs, disaster recoveries, PCs and laptops, and new ticket reader hardware. For the vessels, we have new radars and gyros, new fire detection systems, and spare engines for the MV Iano and MV Woods Hole, which will be coming up in the procurement section. And on the land side, operations, we have requests for 2 shuttle vans, 4 electric buses, which will be in the procurement section as well, and 4 new luggage tow motors. So that's what we're proposing for the 2022 capital budget. And myself or any of the staff members involved would be happy to answer any questions you have. And we are looking at, should mention that the Mr. Cahill talked about that the Port Council did unanimously approve the 2022 proposed capital budget.
Do I have any questions? Yes, Mr. Jones, please.
Tell me a little bit about what's the destination of the 4 electric buses?
They're going to be used on both. Sorry, they'll be used on both routes. Both in the for the Falmouth route serving between the parking lots in Falmouth and Woods Hole, as well as on the Hyannis route.
Okay, now, do we have the infrastructure in Hyannis to plug those in, or do they need special adaption or what?
There are special chargers for these, and the maintenance team as well as the operations team is already in plans of putting that in for the buses that we expect delivered for this July.
And the charging station should be
And these are universal charging stations, so the buses we previously ordered, and the ones we're proposing can use the same charging station.
Okay. Mark, just as a curiosity, what were the buses non-electric, we've been using somewhere around $300,000 a piece, or where,
Those were closer to 500, I believe, off the top of my head, in that area.
just a standard bus?
The low floor standard bus, the difference is the propulsion system.
Understand. I'm talking about the dollars, between $1 million and the cost of the traditional buses that we've been using.
Yeah, the new Flyers that we purchased, I believe those were, top of my head, about $500,000 a piece. And those are, what, 2 years old, Allison? Yeah, about 2 years old.
Okay, and what's the longevity of these anticipated?
Altoona and the FTA marked these for 12 years.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Is there any resale? Yeah, I'm sorry to beat this one up. Is there any resale value when at the end of their life? Is there any juice left in the batteries? Do they have to get new batteries to be reclaimed or what?
The batteries can be replaced, and I know one of the vendors is just changing out their styles, and the battery technology from when the electric buses first came out to now has come a long way as far as both charge time and as well as useful life, and how where you don't have to run the battery down and then recharge it.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank
Mr. Malcolm, did you have a question?
Yeah. Mark, there had been some conversation about the transfer bridges in Nantucket and in Martha's Vineyard. Is that planned for 2022 or is that later, further out?
We have the Nantucket Transfer Bridge, Mark's in here, doing later this year.
Okay.
You know, so that, and then I'll have to circle back with you on the Vineyard one, and that will go through the operating budget.
Thank you.
And Peter, did you have a question or was it answered?
I do have a question. It's in regards to the spare engines for both the different boats. I know that we're looking now at the feasibility study for looking at changing our propulsion systems over to electric or some hybrid. So and I know that report has been delayed in part because of COVID, and I believe it's coming out in April based upon my conversations with Bob. I'm just wondering if that report would have any impact on the timing or the necessity of buying these spare engines, or would the buying of spare engines now, delay the implementation of moving to other hybrid or electric propulsion systems?
Okay, so I'll handle that one. And Mark can jump in here too. In terms of the INO, in terms of upgrading those engines to a TF4 system, it would involve a pretty substantial overhaul of the hull form. We may not be able to have 4 engines. We may only have to have 2 in order to have the room available for the scrubbers and everything that will be necessary. The proposed purchase of the engine for the INO, not only is it for operational, it's good to it's as a safety valve. We feel that there'll be a value to that engine, at the point where we'd be looking to either repower that vessel or replace that vessel. The engine for the Woods Hole, meanwhile, is a Tier 3 engine. It's a more recent tier engine that likewise would have a value if we're looking at any modifications to the propulsion system on that vessel. But right now we do not have a spare engine for the Woods Hole.
And with the Woods Hole having that spare engine, if we were to ever have a casualty, we could be replacing the engine in a matter of weeks versus being out of service, somewhere 3 to 6 months. I think there's some great value in having that replacement engine.
Any other questions?
I just a follow up with that. I guess in terms of the fleet, then, and when we look to repower or replace, I guess what, and I know the report isn't out yet on the feasibility study, but what are the boats within the fleet that we'd look most likely to repower or replace?
Yeah, so we're working on the useful life survey of all the vessels. So that will be very helpful in determining, which vessels, have some useful life that they would be candidates for, or whether they're candidates to be replaced. I think in terms of, whether there's a conversion, the Woods Hole is the baseline that Elliott Bay who designed that vessel. They're using that. I think the engine space and things like that may be more susceptible to being upgraded. But there's a number of concerns in terms of battery storage and how that would impact the draft of the vessel or any of our vessels, the weight of the batteries in order to, if the Woods Hole spends a good over half the year on the Nantucket route, and we have a draft issue with Hyannis Harbor where we can't be over 10'6". So the batteries that would be necessary to operate that vessel on that route, it may not be feasible to convert it solely to electric. It may be some sort of limited hybrid capabilities and things like that. So and then without having the report, I would think that perhaps the Island Home would be the other vessel, because those are the newest vessels. And if we're going to be putting any money into an existing vessel, I would think that those would be the most likely candidates for that. So.
Oh, yes.
More?
Yes, Mr. Jones?
Yeah, I don't know, from what little I know about conversions, I think probably the purchase of a whole new vessel designed around, the hybrid engine would be more economically feasible than trying to convert what we have. I don't know that for sure, but there's a lot of technology that is not ready yet, in my opinion, and it'll be years before I think we'll be seeing any type of electric propulsion on our vessels. Not as though we don't want it, it's just we can't afford it. The conversions they're doing out there in Washington State are ungodly expensive. Their actual benefit is only about 50% on the carbon footprint, because they're hybrids, they use both. That's a big issue. What I'm waiting for is, when are we going to get a report on this, so we can look at this, Bob? You know, I'll tell you.
Yeah, as Mr. Jeffries mentioned, the report was delayed. A couple issues. One was some COVID issues, but the other was in terms of being able to get some of the data off the systems. We had to bring in the technician to be able to get data for Elliott Bay. They're also working with Eversource in terms of the power, because I think they're working on the shore side requirements that we'd be needing. So I anticipate that probably the early part of April that we'd be seeing a report, that they'd be in a position to be presenting a report to the board.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Davis, have you finished with item 5C?
We're still on item 4, actually. I don't think we haven't, the board hasn't made a
Oh.
determination whether they want to approve the capital budget.
Okay, so we haven't, even though we've discussed each of those
Yeah.
procurement, you want to approve the capital budget first. I
Yeah,
understand.
those are elements within the capital budget, and then we can take up the individual ones after.
I just want to add one thing more.
Excuse me, excuse
Hmm?
me. Yeah, go ahead, Mr. Jones.
I'm sorry, I didn't know you.
That's all right.
I just want to put my plug in for purchasing the new engines and putting them on the shelf. That's very smart.
I agree.
Otherwise, without,
I agree, and I will
Excuse me?
assume, and I assume that you will have those motions under 5B and C. So, and you will lead those.
okay, I
motions.
didn't know you were gonna break them apart. I'm ready.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. But could we have a vote, please, on the proposed capital budget? And I need a roll call vote.
Yeah, I think you need a motion first.
Will you have a motion to approve? Someone give me a motion to approve the proposed 2022 capital budget?
I'll make a motion to approve it.
And I'll second.
Okay. May I have a roll call vote, please?
Jones, aye.
Malcolm, I.
Randy, I.
Aye.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you, so I just want to make sure it gets recorded.
Jeffrey, aye.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Jeffries. And Tierney, aye. Moving ahead, I think we've discussed.
Madam Chair, may I, if I could have 2 seconds to give an update on the January 2022 traffic, real quick?
Yes, yes, Mark, you may.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Threw me off my game here.
I apologize, and I'll put it on next month's agenda for just a quick update. If we go to the next slide, Sean. So for the month of January, on the Vineyard route, for the passengers carried, we're up 3% or 2,500. On the Nantucket route, we're virtually flat, increase of 10 passengers. Total passengers for January up about 2,500 at 2.6%. Next slide, please. For vehicle traffic, on the Vineyard route, we saw all categories down. Automobiles were down to about 1,400, pickup trucks just over 250, and commercial freight was down about 200 vehicles. On the Nantucket route, we saw the automobiles up 43, while the pickup trucks were down 132, and the freight trucks were down 176 as well. Looking at the first week of February, the automobiles and passengers will basically, what we're down will make up for in the first week of February. And granted, these are small numbers in comparison to the total traffic for the year.
Okay.
Okay,
Anything
thank-
else?
Nope,
Anything
thank
else,
you very
Mark?
much.
No, you're
Nope,
welcome.
thank you.
Okay, now let's move on to procurement. I'm looking for a motion to approve 5A, the request for authorization to purchase the 4 electric shuttle buses that we just spoke of and questioned. May I have a
I'll move.
May I have a
I'll
second?
move.
Second.
Okay, may I have a roll call vote, please?
Malcolm, I. Do you want to do this alphabetically, or how would you like us to do it, Ms. Chair?
We'll do it. That's fine. Malcolm, and I think the 2 big wigs, Nantucket and Martha's Vineyard, should go first. And then the rest of us should follow, with myself being last. So,
I've been called a lot of things, but never a big wig, but okay, Malcolm, I.
Randy, I.
Jones, aye, but I wonder if there's any need to vote.
I think it calls for a vote.
Yes.
It does, I'm being facetious, but now we got, we've got 70% of, so all we can do is weigh in.
Oh,
Anyways,
thank,
just go on.
yes, I didn't follow that. Thank you.
Jeffrey, aye.
Tierney, aye. All right, moving on to the authorization. This is your motion, Mr. Jones. So I'd love to have you make it the authorizations to purchase the engine for the INO.
yes, I would so move. As I said before, we really need to put these engines on the shelf and have them ready.
Super.
You
Do
know,
I have a
it's just
second?
as easy as that.
Thank you, Mr. Malcolm will second. May I have a roll call vote?
Malcolm, I.
Randy, I.
Jones, aye.
Jeffrey, I.
Tierney, aye. And finally, do I have a motion to purchase the MTU engine for the Martha's Vineyard Woods Hole? Mr. Jones, did you want to give your?
Sure, I'll carry it through. I'll
On
make
that
that
one?
motion.
Okay. Do I have a second?
Second,
Roll call vote, please.
Malcolm, I.
Randy, I.
Jones, aye.
Jeffrey, I.
And Tierney, aye. So I think that covers item number 5.
Yep.
Okay, you have your votes there, Mr. Davis. Thank you very much.
Thank
Item-
you.
Item number 6, please, is old and new business. And did you want to address the Urban Harbors report, Mr. Davis, briefly?
Yeah, I just want to bring the boards to the attention that there was a report that we became aware of back in 2021 that the Massachusetts Department of Transportation, MassDOT research program had contracted with Urban Harbors Institute of the University of Massachusetts, Boston to perform a study, and the study is titled Exploring Short Sea Shipping as an Alternative to Non-Bulk Freight Trucking in Southeast Massachusetts. And it was undertaken in part with funding that they got from federal highway, state planning and research funds. So in short, the executive summary was that the purpose of the research project was to examine the potential effects on highway congestion and total emissions from trucks and ferries carrying non-bulk freight to Martha's Vineyard, and the shift of the port of departure return from Woods Hole to an alternative Massachusetts port. The objective of such a shift would to remove freight trucks from the roadways leading to and onto the Cape Cod by utilizing waterborne transportation for a greater portion of the trip. It's consistent with the interest of the nation and Commonwealth to better incorporate navigable waterways into the freight transportation system. So I won't go into all the details on the report as it's 70 plus pages long, but basically they looked at it in terms of the amount of the congestion that comes from the Steamship Authority traffic coming over the bridges. And if some of that freight traffic was to be diverted to an off-Cape port, and the study used New Bedford, although they point out that the city of New Bedford has not was not part of the study directly in terms of how they're interested in this, but they use New Bedford. And then also whether there'd be a reduction in CO NOx and CO2 emissions by operating a freight service from New Bedford to the Vineyard. And I think while there's some benefits that they identify, I think overall they're looking at that the emissions that the vessels have would not offset the savings from the trucks, and that they did identify that the amount of traffic that that comes over the bridge, I think, is less than 2%, less than 0.14% of the traffic over the bridges, and less than 2% of the traffic on Woods Hole Road. So I just wanted to provide that report. It wasn't anything that we had commissioned. We became aware of it. I'm not really sure when it was authorized, but we became aware of it late in 2021. So and they issued a report here at the end of the year, beginning of this year.
Super. Thank you very much. Mr. Malcolm,
Thank you. Can the board get a copy of that?
isn't it in the
It should be in diligent.
It is?
report? Yes, it is.
Diligent.
Thank you.
Now, next is proposed legislation. Is everyone familiar with that? Yes? Okay. In thinking about this particular topic, I wanted to thank our legislators for, working closely with us to consistently improve the functionality and the day-to-day operations of our organization as we sort of ourselves put into place with the HMS study. The HMS study was a really in-depth study, and I think we need to focus on that and have it reviewed with a bylaw review so that we can offer some comments to the board to provide assistance to Mr. Fernandez and Mr. Sayers. And I was wondering, I know that this isn't on the agenda for a vote, but I think I could ask that the staff prepare a report. I sort of was thinking that perhaps, given his institutional knowledge, we could use Mr. Sayers as well, relative to the COO position and relative to implementing some of the recommendations of the HMS report that our legislators would like to see us implement. So, Mr. Davis, do you have the staff that can work in conjunction with the staff availability with Mr. Sayers to do a report for us for next month's meeting?
Yeah, we'll get to, I'll get a hold of Steve and, obviously, some of the staff here is see what we can put together here for the next month's meeting, if that's what you would like.
Yes, does everybody concur that that makes some sense? Not that, yes?
Yeah.
I can't say that it doesn't make sense, but I'm taking a different tact on what I see for the legislation.
Okay.
So
I'd like to have this input anyway, and then we can have a better, more in-depth discussion. Is that okay with you, Mr. Jones?
I would like to just say a few things, and then we can take that up accordingly. I looked at this pretty seriously.
Could you defer that discussion, Mr. Jones? I would ask that you defer that. I would ask that you defer that discussion and comments until next month's meeting, please.
Well, is the legislator going to take action on this, and we're going to wait till the?
I don't think it's
When is
imminent.
it?
My understanding is that we will have the time to have this, brief, in my lingo, briefed, so to speak, by our staff and by legal counsel relative to the steps that we need to participate in. So I think it makes sense before we put any of our individual comments on the record regarding this to hear what legal counsel and the staff can weigh in on. Okay.
If you're saying as the chairman, that's what you wish me to do, I'll honor that.
I would so
But
appreciate that.
the fact of the matter is that we were given this legislation. I will say that I was pleased that Senator Sears, I think that's the way you pronounce his name, called and made contact with every one of us, I believe. And I thought that was a real stand-up position. No, you didn't get, well, no. Well,
Probably
anyways,
probably his district, perhaps.
I don't know. I don't know, but yes, he did call. I had a nice conversation with him. He told me what they were doing, and it wasn't a blind side, and so I was perfectly aware, although I did not agree with what they're recommending. But I will save that argument until such time that we want to take a vote on this, or are we going to take a vote on this? And at least,
I think that's one of the considerations. You know, this is a very new topic. There's not a lot of precedent. So I would like to see it vetted by our by our qualified staff and Mr. Sayers, so that we can have a robust conversation about this legislation and have all of our views, set forth. So I look forward to your view, Mr. Jones. Mr. Randy?
Would part of that vetting process include the Port Council?
I think that's an excellent suggestion. Excellent suggestion. Yes, family member?
I would like, as part of this background information, to have the authority tell us what the cost would be for this unfunded legislative mandate if it passed for a CO, not only in terms of salary and benefits, but recruitment costs and potential displacement on other staff.
We can include that in what we put together, an estimate at least.
Okay. All right, super. Mr. Malcolm?
Yeah, I appreciate you trying to keep this succinct and not trying to be very succinct. But I think I support what Mr. Jeffrey just said. As the board knows, I mentioned in 2 of our meetings the COO position, and the board took a position that the disruption to the existing organizational structure, the issue of COVID, and the issue of function didn't make sense to support the COO position. That was a position that we took as a board, and I support that process. And that,
Well, I think we have to, given that the legislation, is out there and alive and breathing and
correct.
I think we have to look at it again, in all fairness,
Sure.
to our organization as well as our working relationship with the legislature, who's been so, who's been very instrumental in the success of our organization. So, I think when we took on HMS, we wanted to have a new and improved steamship authority, and our legislators are asking us to take another look at it. But I would like to have the input of our fine staff and of Mr. Sayers, and thank you, Mr. Randy, Port Council. And then we can sort of draw our map as to where we want to go next.
Absolutely support that.
Thank you. Is there anything else, Mr. Davis?
The only thing I'd like to just mention is we've had a couple of retirements I'd just like to point out. So we had Madeline Williams, who was worked in our reservation office. She just retired with 20 years of service. And I've been informed that Captain Ray Oliver, after 46 years of service, will be retiring at the end of this week. So we wish them well and fair, fair and following seas in their retirement.
And could you certainly send out a correspondence from the board? Do we do that to each of our employees anyway, Bob? When they retire, does the board send them a thank you?
Yeah, we've been trying to, as we have a number of people that have long tenures here, and I think in the last couple of years we've been trying to do something as these opportunities come up. So
Great.
to recognize their service. So.
All right, terrific. So now are we going to come back into public session after our executive session?
No, we do not need to come in.
No. So I am just looking for my announcement.
Public
We need to
comment.
do public comment first, Ms. Tierney.
Yes, yes. So I'd like to open the meeting to public comment.
Mr. Salzberg.
Hi, good morning. It's Rich from the ME Times.
Hi, Rich.
How you doing?
I'm fine. Floor is yours.
Thank you. I had a couple of questions about the SQMS manuals and a couple of vessel questions after that, if that's okay.
Is Mark still here?
Yes, he's still here.
You said
Okay.
vessel questions?
Sure thing.
Okay.
Um,
Do you want to handle the SQMS manual, Mr. Davis?
Yeah.
Okay. So why don't we,
okay. Concerning the accreditation of those manuals, could you elaborate on that? Who will be accrediting those manuals? Is there a special body that comes in and takes a look at them and evaluates them?
Yeah. Mark,
So the, having been through this process many times, it's usually a recognized organization called an RO. It will be a third party such as the American Bureau of Shipping or DNV, Det North Veritas. There will be the third party.
Sure thing. And if for some reason they don't certify them, is there like a period where you can adjust the drafts of these documents so that they fall in line with what they're looking for?
Well, it's a process, as an initial process of them approving the manuals and doing a survey of the fleet and personnel. And then there's an interim period which we will be operating, and they'll come back and do another audit to see that the system is operating satisfactory in accordance to the approved manuals.
Understood. And after they've done their work in reviewing them, are these sort of living, evolving documents? Will they be added to annually or biannually as you know the vessels change or your policies change?
Yes, we have on board the vessels, you have a master's review annually. And also there'll be, recommendations from internal audits and external audits and observations. So it's a moving document.
Understood. Thank you. Concerning the emergency dry dock or emergency repairs on the Katama, could you speak to how that damage was detected and when it was detected?
Yes, we noticed there was in one of the generators, there was a slight loss in jacket water. And what we did was we removed the vessel from service and brought it to our maintenance facility in Fairhaven. We put dye in the water, and we observed that in another portion, these channel coolers are quite long. They're probably in the order of 50 feet. And we observed some dye coming in through a crack just forward of the transverse watertight bulkhead. At this point, we notified the U.S. Coast Guard and we subsequently dry docked the vessel at Thames Shipyard.
Is that crack, does that have any similarity to the crack that opened up previously in the vessel? Is it the causation or area similar?
The crack that was previous of last year that was located further aft. This was, I would say, associated with wastage in the shell plating, which allowed it to flex and to crack. So the two are different. However, they do have to do with the 40-year-old age of the vessel.
Sure thing. And could you speak a bit about the door on the Martha's Vineyard? What may have happened there and what needs to be done?
Well, what happened was a tall truck caught the top bottom of the door. We did some interim repairs as we're waiting for some new slats to come in. We're going to be replacing the lower section of the door with new stainless steel slats. They arrived, they're in, and we're just waiting to get the vessel to Fairhaven. It should change out in less than a day, and then we'll get the full height back of the door.
Sure thing. And last but not least, the bow thruster, the bow thruster work on the island home, is that just routine maintenance, or was there something specific to address in those?
No, that's routine. Every 5 years, it should take apart all the bow thrusters. We new shaft sleeves, very standard work. That's on a preventive maintenance program.
Understood. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Salzberg. Okay, at
I
this
don't-
time,
Sorry, no other public comment, Madam Chair.
thank you very much, Mr. Driscoll. At this time, I'd like to read a statement prior to going into executive session. I'd like to entertain a motion to go into executive session to discuss and improve the minutes of the authority's meeting in executive session of January 18th of 2022, and to discuss the authority's strategy with respect to pending litigation, real estate development, and collective bargaining negotiations, because a public discussion of these matters may have a detrimental effect on the authority's negotiating and bargaining positions. These matters include Captain Al Brox et al. Versus the Woods Hole, Martha's Vineyard, and Nantucket Steamship Authority, which is a civil action pending in the Barnstable Court. Proposed condominium development on School Street in Hyannis. Condominium development at the corner of Union and Water Street in Vineyard Haven, and the impacts on the bus roundabout on Water Street. Potential lease of warehouse space, approximately 5,000 square feet, located on the Thomas B. Landers Road in East Falmouth. Potential sale and development of 31 Easy Street, Nantucket. Anticipated and ongoing negotiations with our Teamsters Union Local 59, the SEIU Local 888, and MEBA's District Number 1 PCD, and discussion with respect to a tentative collective bargaining agreement with Teamsters Local Number 59, governing the terms and conditions of employment for the authorities, parking attendants, and bus drivers. The public disclosure of any more information with respect to these matters would compromise the purpose for which the executive session is being called. After the conclusion of executive session, we will not reconvene in public session. Again, may I have a motion, please? Mr. Malcolm,
Moved.
may I have a second?
Second,
Okay, may I have a roll call vote?
Dr. Knight.
Rainey, aye.
Jones, aye.
Aye.
Kearney, aye. 10 minutes? Is that acceptable?
Yeah, 10 minutes, that should be fine. Yep, perfect.
We'll
Right.
see everybody. Actually, why don't we just make it at 11:15? That's even better. Okay?
All right, thank you all.
All right, thank you.